let's get into a match review for the game yesterday. Everton 0, Spurs 0 at Goodison Park. Obviously, Conte's first game in the Premier League. What did you see from the team yesterday? Because obviously it was very bad in terms of in the final third. Couldn't really fashion too many chances. Didn't get any shots on target in the game yesterday. But I still felt that we were solid and always in that game. And
I felt like we kept Everton at bay pretty well in general.
I mean, what's it? Lloris, made like one save throughout the whole game, pretty much.
Yeah, it was pretty simple save. I don't remember too many. Like where he overextended. Obviously, he had that moment where the penalty, and he had to get fingertips at Richarlison opportunity, which came from a couple of mistakes. But apart from that, we were very, very solid. Everton found it very, very difficult to break us down and create any chances. When we did get the opportunities to go forward, I felt like we looked a bit more dangerous on the ball when we actually had it. The problem is I felt like we didn't create enough opportunities to have possession and put Everton under pressure. I felt like we were very deep, and a lot of the times when we got the ball and tried to break out, we were far too deep a lot of the time, and we found it very, very difficult to get up the pitch. And Kane and Son were quite isolated on many occasions, which was a problem, which we'll have to sort out. Very similar to, actually, I would say, Mourinho. A lot of the problems he had under Mourinho, actually, in terms of how we are far too deep. And I think yesterday we had a few of those problems, but I think the difference was, I saw a bit of patterns in play when we did dominate possession. We were looking very threatening, and I thought we could have definitely had a couple of really put away a couple of opportunities, especially when we got the fullbacks involved. We created a few opportunities, a few openings we should have made more of. I thought Kane's hold-up play, when he was able to do it, was pretty good, but there were a few times where on a breakaway he had Son or Kane running in behind. He just couldn't get the ball into them.
Grandpa gave him man the match.
Yeah, I know Grandpa gave man of the match. I think in general, I don't think he played badly. And I think a few times on the breakaway, he was quite good with his passing, but a few times he gave the ball away in very promising positions as well. We could have done better. But I think in general, I'm seeing a few things which I like, and a few things which we definitely need to improve on in the performance.
Conte's work is definitely cut out for him, that's for sure. What I noticed, which I quite liked from the game yesterday, is that we were trying to go short from goal kicks quite a lot, trying to play it out from the back. And I thought that our passing between our defenders and our defensive midfielders like Skip and Højbjerg was actually quite good, trying to play out the back. It was just when we got it further up the pitch, that's when it kind of let us down, didn't it?
And that is when we used to play out the back under Pochettino. That is where Moussa Dembele became invaluable in the team, because we used to literally just give it to him and no one could get the ball off him. It was impossible to get the ball off him. So he could turn, and as soon as we're basically inviting people towards us, it is absolutely crucial, unless you go long, to have someone who could hold off a press, be press resistant, turn, and then pass into space. Because
that's what Tanguy Ndombele needs to be doing.
Yeah, he needs to be a lot stronger though in Ndombele when he does that, but he's obviously extremely talented in breaking lines and dribbling and stuff like that, but he just doesn't have the strength Moussa Dembele used to have to really hold players off. And that is what if we can develop him in that kind of way, then when you invite teams onto you and they're pressing really, really high, as soon as you can turn out, there's all that space in behind you can play into. And that's exactly what we're trying to do when we're playing short. We're inviting the opposition onto us. We're saying to them, come press us, and then we're going to hit them with Son and Lucas and Kane with all the space in behind them. We used to be very, very good at that under Pochettino. And that is obviously definitely what we weren't really doing that under Nuno. We're definitely going a bit longer from goal kicks, and that was a feature. And a few times we put in trouble, but also a few times we were able to play out the back quite impressively and create openings. And as soon as we perfect that, it's going to bode very well for us.
Yeah, and that's why I actually think these next 2 weeks could be quite invaluable for Spurs, because obviously it's the international break now. We've got many players that aren't going on the international break, and one of them is Tanguy Ndombele. And if Conte can work with him now for 2 weeks, get him fit, get him, up to speed and everything like that, and if he can make those sacrifices to the team in the centre of the park, it could be really invaluable with us having Ndombele in one of those two with one of Skip or Højbjerg,
Yeah. I mean, I'm undecided yet as to what our best formation is. Yesterday we played 3-4-3 with Lucas to the right, Son to the left, and Kane up front with the midfield two of Højbjerg and Skip.
3-5-2 might be the way we.
That's
should be
what
going.
I'm feeling. 3-5-2. He played under Inter. He played at Inter, but he actually kind of played a 3 in the centre rather than a 2-1 with one just behind the striker. With it was kind of a 3, but it wasn't like no one was in the hole. They kind of took turns to go in the hole. Either Eriksen would go there, then Barella would drop back, or Barella would go there and Eriksen would drop back and cover the space. And then obviously they had Brozovic sitting, dictating the play. That's how they played. And I think we have the players to replicate that.
But I think you could do that with Skip sitting, Skip or Højbjerg sitting. And then, Lo Celso and Ndombele playing that kind of role. If we can fit both of them in, if they can both make those sacrifices to the team that he keeps talking about.
That's what I think what might be our biggest strength, having being with a 3-5-2. The only thing is, Inter Milan, he played Hakimi and Perisic as the wing backs, and they are far more attacking than Reguilon and Emerson. Obviously, we yet to see maybe they could bring that to their game, Reguilon and Emerson under Conte. I still think they're like Emerson and Reguilon are both like naturally fullbacks as opposed to wing backs. So like I feel like Reguilon, his biggest strengths have never been like getting in the box or like scoring or having shots and stuff. I think he's very good cross through the ball, don't get me wrong, but whether he can actually have serious final third contributions like getting in the box and slotting it home and scoring goals and firing it back post and stuff like that. And Emerson as well. I think he's a decent cross through the ball, whether he can have those serious final third impacts good enough that we can rely on him to like Chelsea's Ferran Alonso and Inter Ryan Perisic and stuff like that. We'll have to wait and see.
I actually noticed quite a lot of that yesterday, trying to find Reguilon at the back post, trying to find Emerson at the back post. And I think that, the more and more they get used to that system, the more effective that they're going to be in it. And I think that
Reguilon's also one of the players who's staying home as well. He's not in the Spain squad. So he can definitely help.
That's a big. It's a shame players like Emerson and the South American contingent have to go, because who remains to be seen what's going to happen with them. I don't know if there's any rule updates or anything like that in terms of the South American players.
It's probably. I don't think it's got any worse than what it was before. Surely, is it?
No, I doubt. I hope not. Anyway, I hope not. But in terms of what I was talking about, I mean, Emerson, he seems to be getting better and better game on game, doesn't he?
Emerson, yeah, and I definitely think under Conte he could be a very, very good, very good player for us. And I think he's playing with a lot more confidence in terms of his dribbling, taking people on. I think clearly he's got a phenomenal athleticism. The amount of times, even in the last minute, you're seeing him like on the right-hand side, busting a gut to get forward. I think that could be very, very crucial to how we play. People might have said like Matt Doherty could be good in this system, and actually in a weird way he might be, but I think in terms of going forward, but I still feel like with Emerson there, he's so good at going up and down the line that he might make that position his own on the right hand side. And I think he just needs to improve his final third output, which given time I'm hoping he can.
Like the rest of them.
Yeah, I know, but I think he's probably more of a right back going into a wing back position rather than like a winger going into a right wing back position like Conte's done with other players, and like Victor Moses, for example. So he's going to have to improve that. But Emerson, with that athleticism, if he can get right his output, he's going to be one hell of a player to stop.
Yeah, and it could be one for the bet builders. Reguilon and Emerson to have shots on target pretty much every game, because we're going to be looking for that, aren't we? We're going to be looking for those late runs in the box. We're going to be looking for the crosses into the box. So they really need to improve their output. And there were moments yesterday where both of them really could have scored. Mm-hmm. Emerson with that header that goes just over the bar. Reguilon at the back post where he should have done better with. So they both really could have got on the score sheet yesterday, couldn't they?
Definitely, and that's all that already shows. I will show you in a minute. That already shows how we're getting the fullbacks a lot more involved in attacking positions, and it's making them difficult to pick up as well, because when you got especially when in the 3-4-3, when you've got a three of Son, Kane and Lucas in the box, and you've got one fullback on the left crossing a ball, the defence has no option but to kind of concentrate their efforts on Son, Lucas and Kane getting on the end of things, and it leaves a lot more often than not the opposite wing back completely free on the far side. And he made a lot of use of that at Chelsea and more at Chelsea than Inter Milan, I would say. Inter Milan, he made more of a use of the front two of Martinez and Lukaku and really focused on that. But at Chelsea, with Alonso and Moses, so often they would be popping up at the front post and getting real final third contributions, like serious stuff.
And in terms of the defence yesterday, pretty solid. Do you reckon this is the back three that he's going to persist with for a while?
So I think obviously Romero will definitely be there. Eric Dyer, I feel like Eric Dyer, his best football's always been in the back three, and it definitely covers his weaknesses more than being in the back two.
Are you surprised that he's in the middle of a back three?
A bit, but I think I am a bit surprised, but I also think he's less comfortable going into wide areas. Romero's played in a back three at Atlanta, and he's very used to going 1v1 with players.
Where in the back three was he for Atlanta?
He was in the centre of a back three, but in general he's much more used to going 1v1 with players than Eric Dyer is. So that definitely leads to him being more comfortable going on the right side. And if he's isolated, if a winger comes at him, he's much more comfortable going out to engage than Dyer, who's probably less comfortable and more likely to be beaten. Same with Davis. Obviously, Ben Davis is by trade been a left back for a lot of his career. So when he goes into that left centre back role. And again, if Reguilon's not back in position, he can easily go out to the left-hand side and positionally be in a very good position to kind of mop up Reguilon and be very comfortable on the outside.
With Ben Davis, I mean, we've seen him in the opposition box more in the last two games, and
that was
than we've seen him in his whole Spurs career, probably.
That was another thing with Ben Davis. It was an underlapping centre back, a bit like how Wilder used to do well for Sheffield United with the overlapping centre backs. When given the opportunity, when we're pinning the opposition into their half, and then they've got like a organised backline that Everton did, you do see a couple of times Ben Davis venture into the box and get found as well. And Ben Davis, given time and space, I mean, he's not the best output, but he does have a decent left foot.
As his chance against Vitesse showed.
Yeah, it wasn't the best strike, but he can improve that. I think he's got technically he's not terrible with his left foot, and I think he could give it, if you give him time and space, he can actually have a decent pass or a decent cross to him. The worry with Davis is, well, like when he's on the run or when you pressure him, he doesn't really have that in him. But when you give him time and space, he might be able to come up with something. And so I actually feel like also Conte was a massive fan of Azpilicueta in that centre-back position, despite the fact he wasn't the tallest or maybe wasn't the strongest. He really liked positionally how he was, and he was very comfortable going into wide areas like Ben Davis is. So Ben Davis could have maybe a bit of a renaissance under Conte.
Very interesting.
Could be perfect for him from that system. And he was very good for Wales there as well. He's very good for Wales there.
In terms of all in all, though, are you happy with what you're seeing so far?
Look, it's only 2 games, isn't it? It's not going to be...
Maybe not happy with what you're seeing, but do you see clear improvements so far?
I wouldn't say I see clear improvements, but I see the direction. I see little things from what Conte's implementing, which is going to take time to develop. And obviously, look, you have to have full belief and trust in what is obviously a top quality manager in Antonio Conte. And he knows exactly what he wants and what he's doing. He's done it with so many clubs now, and so often that it's a tried and proven method. And not only that, he hasn't only done certain things the same way, but he's also found different solutions with every club he's been at for different things. Mm-hmm. For example, playing Victor Moses as a right wing back for Chelsea to solve that problem, or playing 3-5-2 at Inter Milan and playing Perisic a left wing back and stuff like that. Like, he does have a knack of finding the solution to problems when they present themselves. And it's going to take time to... he even at Chelsea, he started the season with 3 wins and then went on a really bad run, and there was even talk of him being sacked. And then he changed up the whole formation.
After that Arsenal game, it was like, enough is enough.
Yeah, he changed up the whole formation, and all of a sudden they...
Because they went from 4 at the back to 5 at the back, didn't they?
Yeah, they went on a run where they won nearly 13 matches in a row, I think it was.
Yeah.
So he knows how to solve problems at every club he's been at. And so he's got a lot of problems to solve at Tottenham. He's going to take time to weed out and figure them out. Like most top managers, it takes time to figure out the problems. But I reckon it won't be that too long until we start seeing some really positive results.
Do you think this is the hardest job he's had?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, you got to say that. I think even Inter Milan, when he went there, they were fourth the season before in Serie A, and when he won the league, yes, he won it, but let's be honest, Juventus finished fourth that season, didn't they? So obviously, I'm not saying he won it by default. Obviously, it's a massive achievement to win it.
Before.
He could have won, and they just faltered near the end, if I remember rightly.
Yeah.
They were only a few points off the top, and then obviously the next season, Juventus had a massive drop off. So they were probably the next favourites, but it doesn't mean it's not a massive achievement to have won Serie A and break Juventus' dominance in that second season.
The dominant that he started.
Which he started, exactly. Obviously, you could maybe say the Italy job was one of the tougher ones. He got to the quarterfinals a couple of times, but that was a really poor Italy team as well. So
and he got them playing really well. And
that was seen as
the
an
winners
achievement
on penalties, didn't
on penalties, exactly. So it wasn't exactly like they were disgraced and they were very unlucky. The Chelsea job, I know they finished 10th the season before, but the season before that they won the league, so it wasn't exactly a squad of duds he had. He had some seriously talented players, which he anted N'Golo Conte to, didn't he? So I think this Tottenham team, being 6th and 7th the past 2 seasons, has been in disarray in terms of lack of motivation and direction in terms of where we're heading. We've just been directionless from top to bottom in the past 2 years. And he's really going to need to reinvigorate a lot of these players. I think he's need to find a new level in a lot of these players that they haven't had before. And I think it's definitely the toughest job he had. And if he can get this team either into top 4 and winning silverware, a team that hasn't won silverware in 13 years, we can win us a trophy or something. It'll probably be up there with one of the biggest achievements in his career.